Everybody has their own version of Toonami, whether it exists or not. Whether it's been in the past, for a lot of people in the 2003 time, 2.0 time, or it's been of the current, of the Adult Swim time, with the multi era, any of the eras, or it's just up here where you create whatever shows are ran. You have the time that you want, you have the Sarah that you want, you have the ship that you want, or planet, since we've gone there now. And everything comes together for you as best as you see it when it comes to Toonami. Everyone has it that has had any existence with Toonami, especially if you've been watching for what is going to be the 20th anniversary, 20 years of Toonami, which I have been there since day one, and pretty happy that I've been around this whole time for it. I'm very happy about that. So, the last video, I kind of expressed a bit of that, my own version of Toonami, in that I compared it to the current schedule. What I was kind of complaining about in that video, where the current schedule of Toonami, as it stands, is this: with Super, Kai, JoJo's, Gundam, Hunter x Hunter, Shippuden, One Piece, and Ghost in the Shell. A lineup that the more that I looked at it, the more it kind of haunts me. It goes, wow, this is really nostalgic. It is really, really deep into it. You got the Dragon Ball, you got the Gundam, you got Naruto, One Piece, and you got Ghost in the Shell. The only thing that's doing anything kind of new or is JoJo's and Hunter x Hunter. Whether you consider that a good thing or not, that's up to you. For me, it doesn't give the balance, which is what I was trying to emphasize last time. I may not have emphasized that as well as I should have, because these are still all on the fly. These are just me talking. Just no script. I just have a thought in my head of what I want to talk about, and then I just go. And that's what I'm doing. So I want to reemphasize as best as I can about this balance thing. You can have a Toonami block that is all anime. No problem. But within that realm of being all anime, you can have some leeway with the action shows. You can have less of just the shonens. Because when I see Super, Kai, Naruto, Shippuden, One Piece, you could say that they're as different as you want. They run together. A lot of these shows just run into each other to me. And I know that they have very discerning differences between them. I know people will have their favorites among all of them. But in terms of just the genre and what is appeal, they just run into each other to me. You need something to break it up more. That's what I mean by balance. It doesn't just have to be the Western cartoons, though Western cartoons do very much break that format, unless you're talking about a show that really tries to present itself as an anime, which would be Teen Titans, but it still had its own spirit. Westerns would break it up a lot more, which Samurai Jack will be doing once it premieres, which I'm happy for. But otherwise, what does my Toonami look like then? When I come up with these complaints about the schedule that happens here, you have to answer the question: what is your schedule for Toonami? What shows would you put up for Toonami? How would you make this balance happen that you're theorizing and putting out there? You can't just be throwing out the complaints about something and then not have an answer for it. You're just addressing the problem then without a good solution. And I never liked that. So I did think about it. Came up with some of my own solutions. First of all, if I were to just modify the block as it is, keep it as it is, 11:30, 3:30, or however you want to shift it around from midnight to 4 o'clock and all that kind of stuff. First, I would just get rid of that reruns block. No more reruns. No 3 o'clock slot. Stop. There is no point of having reruns for a block that is all premieres. That makes no sense. Unless the rerun is literally a show that just finished and then you put it at the end of it so other people can catch it from the beginning again. But even then, you have it streamed online. You have it on. You usually have these shows on Adult Swim Toonami, and plenty of people can watch it there. So even then, I would go, just get rid of it. Be done with it. Just premieres. Just premieres. And of course, less long runners. Which you could do in two ways. You could either make the block bigger, have more hours for different premieres. You can have more premiering shows, which means you probably want to push forward instead of pushing back. You don't want to go back later. You want to go back, have more time, 11 or even 10 o'clock, which good luck getting that to happen. Or cutting shows. I'm prepared a lot of people want to have the head of either Naruto or One Piece and would be happy to get rid of either of them so they can have themselves some upon the third. I would love to have some upon the third, but that's just if you were to modify the block as it is. What's more ideal to me is if you change the block at least a little bit. Here's my idea. Friday night, we'll say at 8 p.m., runs for 2 hours. You take the Super, the Kai, the Shippuden, and the One Piece. You take it all out. You make yourself a nice 2-hour block of a Toonami running at that Friday night slot. So you can get those shonens, those action shonens, those shows that kind of fit back to what happened with Toonami 3.0 and 4.0 era back in the days before it turned into Adult Swim reboot. And then you would turn, this is the more important part, the Saturday night or Sunday morning, whichever you want to perceive it as, into more of the adult oriented shows. The midnight run, we'll even say, of Adult Swim, where as we did the reboot, we started with Deadman Wonderland, Casher and Sins, Samurai 7, and all kinds of shows that had a lot more of an adult feel to them, that would have more of an intention to attract those 18 to 24, 18 to 30 year olds that Adult Swim seems to pride themselves getting in that viewership. That's kind of what I want to see. Because me looking at Toonami now, and besides JoJo's and Hunter x Hunter, there's nothing about it that makes me go, why isn't this running at that Saturday slot at 8 o'clock? Why is this at midnight? There's nothing about this that's really feels adult anymore. This is very much attached to the nostalgia and very much attached to the more, it's kind of wrong to say cartoony. We will just say cartoony kind of Toonami that we ran into for a while. It doesn't feel like the hardcore gravitas action Toonami that we've had quite a few times. Basically, just personally. Just personally. Don't say no, that's my opinion. Just personally. This doesn't feel like an adult block. So there's no reason to be running at 12 o'clock. So if you did this split where you had the Friday night and you had the Saturday night, that Saturday night could get filled back with the Hellsings, Black Lagoons, Hunter x Hunter and JoJo. Keep their spots, get those shifted forward, so you got Hunter x Hunter premiere doing the opening, then JoJo, and then whatever other shows that you have following over. You can either have it 2 hours long or 3 hours long. It doesn't have to be long because you have that Saturday slot too. The other ideas that I mullied in my head, and I said, all right, that's my idea of what Toonami is. What about the other ones that exist in the past? Could they be done again? So let's say what is pretty much the impossible, it seems, putting Toonami back on weekdays, Monday to Friday, at wherever time you put it. Probably wouldn't be 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock, or whatever time you go. It would probably be a 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock slot that would be taken up and you would have 2 to 3 hours of the shows. And the more I've looked at it, the more I've gone, it can't work. You would have to have two different schedules now, where the shorter shows are only premiered on like a Friday or a Monday or Wednesday, whatever day you put it on. You would have, let's say you would have Dragon Ball, Super, Kai, whatever other long runners that you have always running all the time, which would mean you would have to do reruns. Absolutely, you can't do this without reruns. There's no possible way. And then you would have every day of the week. Monday would have new episode of JoJo's. Tuesday would have new episode of Hunter x Hunter. The Wednesday would have a new episode of Gundam Unicorn, so on. So you'd fill those new show slots for every day of the week, which would be interesting, but I don't see it working. I don't think it will work, especially if you tried to mix that with, once again, those constant stream of reruns that you would have to do. No choice. Last thing that I had was the digital block. Toonami, think back to Reactor, Jetstream. As it is right now with Toonami, it is just here, the episodes are online, watch it if you need. And nothing is premiering on it. It's just a kind of archive so you can go back to and watch those episodes again if you need to. Or if you miss Toonami or whatever like that. Which is fine. But it's just kind of just me thinking about it. I said, well, maybe what if they go back? What if, because we're so much more centralized on this digital age, we're much more into the Netflix, Hulu's, and other things like that, you could premiere more shows on Toonami and not directly make yourself a competitor to like Crunchyroll or whatever, but to just have that partnership with people that you already do now and have something new coming up on the digital side too. Anything to get a little more attention to Toonami. Could it work? Who knows? That's my ideas. The problem that comes up with any of this is how much does it hurt the business to even attempt to do these kind of things? How much did it hurt Toonami to even bother with the Rising Sun and people, whatever other projects they tried that people consider a failure? You have to, when you bring up these kind of things, there's always going to be the brought up of what's going to bring viewership, what's going to happen business side, and what is just fandom. Are you just appeasing yourself? Which is the problem with a lot of people's own Toonami. You're just appeasing yourself. A lot of this doesn't deal with the survival of Toonami or the realistic perspective of what would happen to viewership. A lot of it is just the idea of, this is my schedule of Toonami, and yes, it would be successful. We don't know if that's true. All we know right now is that Toonami, as it is running pretty well fine oiled machine. Maybe we'll have the viewership hitches and drops from time to time. We even deal with one right now when it comes to the JoJo and Hunter x Hunter, and just seeing that million viewership from Dragon Ball drop down to however low it gets for those other shows. Change needs to happen. It's gonna happen. Whether they force it or they just give it time and just let it play. It's gonna happen. Toonami continues to live. And as far as it goes, happily, it seems Toonami's not gonna go away for a while. And with the Samurai Jack coming back, and in the future we'll get the Footy Coolie season 2, all of that. I'm not too worried about Toonami. I bring up these complaints because I want to get back invested into Toonami. I want to find that love again. And of course, it just makes my mind wander into these types of things of where I would put my personal Toonami, where would my schedule go with it. So that's all it is. So to everyone who watched this far, thank you. And just a question: what is your Toonami? What would you put? Would you change the block? Would you just change the shows? Would you change the Tom? Would you finally have Tom explain why did he meet up with Tom 4.0 and have a conversation with him? I would. But until then, thank you for watching, and embrace the easy days. I love saying that. See ya.